Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's April 28th, 2015 policy session of the Phoenix City Council. We do have a quorum present of the City Council, and I know a few council members have city business to attend to later on, so we won't have a super long meeting, so we'll try to get to the items on the agenda as soon as possible. But first, we will ask if council members do have City Council information or follow-up requests, and we'll try to do it as briefly as possible. Council Member Williams.
Thank you, Mayor, very much. I want to remind the Vice Mayor and Councilman Bill Gates of a contest in Washington School District, and I challenged them. The three districts would compete against one another to see who could help Jill Hicks in the Washington School District collect 75,000 pounds of food. I am pleased to report that District 1 collected 75,503 pounds, and overall, they raised 151,676 pounds of food to go to the food bank. So I would like to honor them and have Tracy Beal and Mark Henricks from the Pure Heart Christian Fellowship, who collected 8,849 pounds. Philip, Wiley's? Oh, lucky guess. Aurora Elementary School, who collected 10,061 pounds. The kids did at that elementary school, and he got to spend 24 hours on the roof of the school. And Jill Hicks, the motivator behind all of us from Washington School District, to join me down here at the podium. Mayor, would you join us too?
Only if you say, what was the total poundage one more time for Washington Elementary School District? How many pounds of food did they collect?
151,676 pounds of food.
Incredible. Thank you, Washington Elementary School District. Yes, the principal of Arroyo did spend 24 hours on the roof. That probably is a violation of our building code, but what the heck. Congratulations.
Oh, I was asked the principal to please tell all the kids at school how much we appreciate their hard efforts and his effort to spend 24 hours on the roof. I thought it was pretty impressive. To the church, thank you. You are a very active member of our community, and you do so many projects. I want you to know you're greatly appreciated. And I have a certificate of appreciation for Jill Hicks, because she is the primary motivator in District 1. I don't care what the cause is, whether it's Washington School District or some other community event. Jill rounds us up, pushes us forward, gives us a goal, and keeps that enthusiasm going, so we're determined to make it. So thank you, Jill.
Thank you very much.
Two losers want to come down? Oh, I mean, Councilman Gates and Vice Mayor, would you join us, please?
I've never seen Bill so red.
Almost wanted to.
Are you going to take them?
Yes.
Oh, next year is going to be terrible.
We'll all take it from Zelda. So.
No, truthfully, we wouldn't have reached the goal without you two.
Our other council members, council information follow-up requests.
The quorum
Councilman Tacio, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. Looking forward to this week. We're going to be meeting with the Merchant Association of 16th Avenue in Bethany. Now, many remember what used to be like around 16th and Bethany, where 16th Street in Bethany,
Yes.
which is now just becoming the place to be, at least in District 6 and other places. And with that brings good problems, but a lot of people perceive them as bad problems. So we're going to be meeting with the Merchants Association to talk about what can be done, because now everybody wants to be there. And the fact that everybody wants to be there, which a lot of people maybe, gosh, I would say maybe 10 years ago, 11 years ago, or even a little further back, it was an area that we had boarded up buildings, just places that nobody wanted to be at. Now it has turned out to be the place to be. So with that comes parking and other issues like that. If I could sit down with staff and just maybe come up with a detailed plan of what they're going to be looking at, or what we can do to present to the neighbors. I know we've had NSD at each of the meetings there, but there are going to be some things, because as it becomes more and more popular, more and more people want to go there. And as more and more people want to go there, in terms of businesses, we're going to have this continual, pushback from the neighbors in the area. So it's funny that how things work out. It's just sometimes, you have to be careful what you wish for, because you might end up getting it. So everybody wanted development to occur. Well, they did, and now it's the place. So I do, looking forward to that, working with all those business owners. And as we move forward too, one of the things we're going to be talking about in the budget, you're going to hear me talking about this in speeches, the entire pension issue is going to become even bigger and bigger, and it's happening, and you can see it in the local media. Everyone's talking about it. One of the things that I would appreciate if we could do, Mayor, I know we're going to be bringing that up, that we bring in all sides so that the public can see all sides. There was a thought that maybe just a firefighter union should be able to do the presentation. We should not just have the unions present their plan, but we should allow also the members of the private sector, others that have worked on pension reform, to do that. This year, just to give you an idea of how bad it is, we would have a worse budget situation than we have right now. But what the City of Phoenix did, I don't agree with, strongly don't agree with, because what we did, and I think it's going to get worse, is we are literally using a credit card, if you can visualize this, a credit card to pay for the long-term debt. So you're creating a debt for a debt. We're delaying out a pension cost because we don't have the money to pay for it this year. Actually, we do have the money. We have more money than we've ever had. It's just that we haven't prioritized where those dollars ought to go yet. So the fact is, the City of Phoenix has more money in its history this year, but it's still continuing on a path that led us into this problem. And debt on debt, people know in your own homes, whenever you do that, you're heading down a very slippery slope that can eventually lead into a very bad economic time for your own personal home. Imagine that now for a government. So my encouragement to staff is that we get away from that and find a way to pay that bill, do things with strategic planning, look at what is and what is not a strategic function. We need to be doing that. That has to happen in this new global economy. Otherwise, we're never going to be able to compete with all the other cities across the world. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Other council members? Council members, comments or questions? Councilwoman, please.
We were able to welcome Community Tool Bank to District 8, which is a great nonprofit that is across the country but coming to Arizona for the first time. Groups who are doing nonprofit, faith-based service projects can borrow tools, so they have a huge warehouse with hammers, wheelbarrows, chainsaws. It is a wonderful asset for community groups that want to do things like cleanups, especially if there are not enough tools available to borrow from the City of Phoenix. And they actually worked with the City of Phoenix when they were determining if there was a need for that particular resource in our community. So it'll be a great tool for council members to recommend and for other groups. So we are very glad to welcome them and glad they chose District 8. They moved into a facility that used to be occupied by an adult video store. So I consider that progress in terms of our community development. We also had a great Earth Day week in District 8, several bicycle summits, including one where we were able to provide helmets to the Somali community for the first time. And we opened up at 24th Street and Baseline a new park and ride facility. So thank you to Councilwoman Williams and others for their leadership. That was part of Transit 2000 and also included great artwork by a District 4 resident. So we were all represented, and people can now go to 24th Street and Baseline and take the bus into downtown. So it was very excited to see that happen. We were also glad to welcome, and they're still here, Girls in Tech, which I hope will be a growing part of our economy as we diversify and get a technology community that is robust and includes all of our great assets and great people in the city of Phoenix. We also welcomed Anderson Cooper to District 8 for a great dialogue on democracy, and we welcomed our sister city from Ramat Gan, along with, I think I will leave my other colleague to announce the other sister city we welcome, but they had a wonderful dialogue with us, and we are working together on a variety of things involving everything from the arts to transportation. They also have a robust biomedical community there, and we will continue with that collaboration. Also want to congratulate my colleagues, including the mayor, on a great education summit where we worked with the business community to figure out what we can do in partnership to improve our education system in the city of Phoenix. So a great and very busy couple of weeks.
Thank you very much, Councilman Gates.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to announce our May Coffee Chat will be on Tuesday, May 12th at 7:30 a.m. at the Moon Valley Cafe, so hope you can all make it for that. Also, they're going to be celebrating the second anniversary already of Bootleggers, which opened up on just 32nd Street in Shea. Great barbecue and other good stuff to eat. That will be Saturday, May 16th at 6:30 p.m. We've had a busy April since our last policy meeting. Thanks to all the Phoenix Neighborhood Patrol, all the PNP members who were recognized last Saturday in District 3 at the North Hills Church. I think Councilman Waring was there, Councilwoman Williams, Councilman Valenzuela all made it a big turnout, and it's great to see the officers there serving food to our PNP members, so always a lot of fun, and I think a lot of raffle prizes were won out there. Also, I'm the council liaison to Grenoble, France, so really enjoyed having the opportunity to welcome them here to Phoenix. Went out the airport, and by the way, thanks so much to our friends at TSA and Customs Border Patrol. Did a fantastic job getting them through the process, and thanks to the mayor for coming on over, and we had breakfast and chatted about a variety of issues, and then also had the opportunity, we had the Washington Elementary School District here earlier, had the opportunity to bring some of the academic members of the delegation to the Washington Elementary School District Business Advisory meeting, and they really enjoyed that experience, and I think gave them some models to take back to France, and also we're going to be looking at some long-term collaborations with the Washington Elementary School District and our friends in France. Thank you, Mayor, for joining me at the North Mountain Brewery in Sunny Slope. This was our third year of brewing the nonpartisan ale, and it went very well and was pretty tasty. We might have had a couple sips of it, but just congratulations to our friends at North Mountain Brewery. It's really a growing business in, we're not to 16th Street and Bethany home yet, but it is getting, we're getting more businesses and more interest in the area. North Mountain Brewery was really a pioneer in Sunny Slope, so thank you, Mayor, for coming along to that. And also, the Mayor joined us for the Sunny Slope Art Walk earlier this week. It was huge. It's the biggest one we've had yet. For the first time, we closed off the street there at Central and Dunlap, and it was a big hit. I want to thank the Phoenix IDA for their support, and all city staff for all their great work, and our officers who are always out there on their bikes. So it was a really a great event. So a lot going on in April, and looks like more to come in May. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilman Gates, and let me be absolutely clear, despite what was said earlier about you, you'll always be a winner to me. Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor.
That was tough comments. Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, just consider this the beginning of next year's competition. District 3, no offense, Vice Mayor, but District 3 is going to win. So you heard it here first.
Vice Mayor.
I'm sure they'll win at something. No offense.
whoa,
No offense.
whoa.
I'm just joking.
Ooh, that's a good, would be a good one.
Yeah, no.
Not even going to touch that one.
Yeah, congratulations to Washington Elementary School District, and a friendly competition with council members Gates and Williams, and great shot there, Councilwoman. But a lot of fun in doing that for a great cause. The three of us, often work with the school district, so thanks to them for coming out, and Councilwoman Williams, again, congratulations. Some exciting news. I know that it was already mentioned, but the Silicon Valley-based nonprofit Girls in Tech had their Catalyst conference in town at the Palomar for the next couple of days, and that's exciting, very exciting to have them here, for the city of Phoenix as we move this entrepreneurial ecosystem forward. Speaking of, I know in the mayor's State of the City address, the mayor, you mentioned the innovation games, and let the games begin. And it was an exciting announcement. The first innovation games will be taking place on May 16th and 17th with the hackathon. We're looking for those that love tech and code and those who care about the environment, because we are going to be looking for ways to help the Reimagine Phoenix goals of diverting 40% of land waste by 2020. And so you can find more information at phoenix.gov. Go to the Reimagine website, or you can go to the District 5 website. We're excited to be part of that as well. So again, that's all part of this ecosystem that we're helping to create together with our entrepreneurs at the city. Our CED office has been just, I can't say enough about Chris Mackey and Paul Blue and Hank Marshall and Phil Bradstock and everyone else who's been working really hard with our entrepreneurs. So thank you for doing that. I was able to make it out to the PMP luncheon this past Saturday. Councilman Gates mentioned how great an event that was. I was honored to start my morning this morning with the District 5 Interfaith Cabinet meeting. When 3.5 years ago, when I took office, I said that I would put together the cabinet with interfaith clergy. And if you look at District 5 and who we have in the district, we have the largest mosque in the entire Southwest United States in District 5. We have the largest English-Spanish bilingual Christian church in District 5, one of the largest, all of these religions it's like having little Israel, and it's very cool. Some of the most influential members of our community are clergy, and to bring everyone together to talk about some of the city issues, it's really been working out very well and to our benefit. So I want to thank everyone who came out this morning. I want to thank Pastor Bob Hake of Orangewood Church for hosting this time. And we'll have more information on the Council 5 website for those who would like to come out for one of those meetings as well. Finally, this Friday, we'd like to invite everyone to the Phoenix Parks Foundation, to South Mountain Park, the Phoenix Parks Foundation. I know that is in District 8, I believe, right? I know that Councilwoman Gallego did a great job of emceeing the event last year. I was there for that. I've been asked if I would MC this event, and I have big shoes to fill, so I've been practicing. We'll see how that goes, but I'm excited about it. It is this Friday, May 1st, at the Phoenix Parks Foundation. This is the 4th annual dinner this is the Park Moon Over South Mountain event, again at South Mountain Environmental Education Center. And there are still tickets available, so please visit dinnerinthepark.com if you're interested. It's a great time, always a great time, great reception, great event, and at the end of it, have an opportunity to go up the mountain and check out the stars, and it's again, always a good time. That said, I'll hand it off to the next.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. Any other comments by members of the council? Councilman Pastor?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm hoping that I see all my constituents and Rick Neymark out on Sunday for a District 4 ride through the neighborhood. It will begin it's Sunday, May 3rd. It starts at 8 o'clock. We'll be meeting at the Newton Changing Hands bookstore, and so we are going to hit the road at 8:30 and ride through the neighborhood and the canal. So I'm hoping to see Ray also out there riding with me. So would appreciate it. Great to have some coffee and go for some exercise, Fit Phoenix, and Fit Phoenix into the neighborhood, and then look at the wonderful establishments we have within our neighborhood. I also want to, a quick reminder that the Community Center summer programs are now have begun for registration. So those that are looking for some activities for your kids and programs, please go onto the Parks and Recreation website to sign up. And I will be, once again, doing swimming lessons with my little one and enjoying the pools, so hope to see you there. I would like to congratulate the new president of Willow Neighborhood Association, and that's Marilyn Rendon. I look forward to working with her, but I also want to thank Brad Bauer for all the work that he's done within the Willow neighborhood and will continue to do. And those are my announcements. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilman. No other information from members of the council. I'll turn it over now to the Vice Mayor. Do we have a consent agenda for tomorrow? I don't think we do. Okay, how about executive session? Do we call for executive session?
Mayor, in accordance with a properly posted notice and agenda, I move that the City Council, pursuant to Arizona Revised Statute Section 38-431.02A, meet in executive session on Tuesday, May 5th, 2015 at 1 p.m. in the East Conference Room, 12th floor of the Phoenix City Hall, 200 West Washington Street, Phoenix, Arizona.
We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item passes unanimously. Mr. City Manager, do you have any reports or budget updates?
Mayor, I just want to thank you all for hosting budget hearings. We had over 350 attendees or commenters, and that will be part of the presentation a week from today on the proposed budget. And with that, Mayor, I turn it back over to you to move forward with the agenda.
All right, next item on the agenda is item number 2, the introduction of the new disability icon. Ms. Peters, you're going to lead the discussion?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and members of the council. Good afternoon. Today, the City of Phoenix has an important opportunity to demonstrate its ongoing commitment to inclusion and accessibility. The image that is used to indicate the locations of accessible facilities is outmoded and not representative of people with disabilities. Our community is ready to change that. I'd like to introduce Elisa Blanford, Acting Director of the city's Equal Opportunity Department, who will introduce our guest and then share the story of the new accessibility icon.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I'm very excited to be here on behalf of the Equal Opportunity Department to request that the City Council adopt a new accessible icon symbol for use by the City of Phoenix at its facilities. First, I'd like to introduce Ms. Jennifer Longden, who I've invited to speak on this issue today. Ms. Longden? We're experiencing technical difficulties. I apologize. Okay. Ms. Longden is a Phoenix resident who serves on the Mayor's Neighborhood Advisory Panel and the Statewide Independent Living Council by appointment of Governor Brewer. She also serves as a public impact advisor to the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation and served 2 terms on the Mayor's Commission on Disability Issues, including 2 terms as chair. Ms. Longden, thank you for being here today and speaking on this important issue.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, council members, thank you for this opportunity. I do live in District 4, and as you can see, I clearly love this icon a great deal, and I'm here to ask you to please adopt it citywide for our use moving forward. We use these universal icons to clearly convey information and wayfinding because they speak a simple truth, so easy to recognize that no language is needed. The traditional icon that we use to designate accessible parking, entrances, and paths of travel is a clumsy, kludgy, static wheelchair that needs to be pushed. When I see that icon, I see nothing that accurately represents me and the people that I see every day who use wheelchairs. In February, I had the privilege of joining Councilwoman Williams, our EOD Director, Elisa Blanford, and ADA Coordinator Pete Fisher when this icon was rolled out for the first time for public use, or for private entity use, in the city of Phoenix. And that was in District 1 at Cigna's headquarters there. And so I'm also grateful to City Manager and Councilwoman Williams for the work that they did to make that happen. And I hope that everyone feels as competitive with Councilwoman Williams. She's clearly many, many parking spaces ahead of the rest of you. So I hope you'll decide that you want to take that on as a challenge as well.
Thank you for not calling us losers.
We'll wait a few months before we determine that, sir. It was a very emotional day for me when we were there, to see parking spot after parking spot and sign after sign, and the sea of smiling volunteers all reflecting this icon back at me. As they made this change on their business campus, I watched the evolution of their attitudes and the understanding that they held of people with disabilities simply by changing the icon. In the media, I've been hearing about this meeting for a couple of days, and as this icon is being described, it's described as dynamic, engaged, athletic, active, moving forward. And as we know, that words and these symbols have power to shape our outlook. As a proud Phoenician, these are words I want you to use to describe me and my fellow Phoenicians. Before I blew out my shoulder, I did marathons and a lot of little races. And like every other runner, I trained regularly. I'd go out and I'd do my miles out on my community streets, decked out in the standard runner's uniform, workout clothes, baseball cap, my iPod strapped to my shoulder, just doing my miles. Every day, 3 miles. Big runs were, 7, 10, 14. Inevitably, I'd end up in some new neighborhood where I hadn't been. And inevitably, someone would rush out of their house or stop their yard work or pull their car over, wanting to render aid. They'd ask, "Are you okay? Do you need help? Can I push you?" Now, there were kind-hearted people who just wanted to help me, but they couldn't understand the concept that I could be an athlete. It was just inconceivable, the idea that I'd be active, pushing miles for health and for well-being and for fun. This new icon depicts people with disabilities as active, in motion, autonomous. The advocate in me wants to know what the distance is between active and engaged and capable and employable. This is more than a symbol. This truly is a statement. Now, the advocate in me is eager for you to start painting these all tomorrow. But the taxpayer in me is a little more prudent. So while you're being good stewards of my tax dollars, I do hope that you'll do 2 things for me here today. I hope that you will approve this icon for use by the city. And I ask that you each pledge that you'll educate the businesses within your own district to look for opportunities to be more disability-friendly and perhaps encourage them to also consider using this icon. Thank you for this opportunity. And by the way, we brought you some cookies to commemorate it. As soon as this icon came out, a friend of mine 3G printed one, which actually turns out to be kind of a big deal. So we have something here to commemorate them. If you get the ones that spread when I was working with the recipe early, I want you to not think of them as mistakes, but think of them as a reminder that Fit Phoenix should also be accessible.
Good point. Good point. All right, thank you, Ms. Longden, very much for your leadership on this issue and so many others, and for your service to community. Are we going to pass out the cookies? What are we waiting for? Sure. Let's go. I mean, come on, jeez. Other question. In the meantime, questions from members of this council? Comments? Do we have a motion, Councilwoman Gallego?
We actually have some additional.
Oh, there's more. I apologize.
There is more.
Keep going. I apologize.
I will say that thank you, Ms. Longden. I don't know that I can top that. In fact, I'm pretty sure I can't. But we'd like to provide the council some additional information, and also to welcome the other members of the Mayor's Commission on Disability Issues who are here today and sitting over to my left, including Peter Fisher, the city's ADA coordinator.
Thank you for your service.
So, as you can see, we believe Phoenix can lead the way in how the disabled community is perceived by replacing an image that was adopted in 1969, which is shown on the left, with the image created by the Accessible Icon Project in 2012, which is shown on the right. The Americans with Disability Act permits variations on the International Symbol of Accessibility, or ISA, as long as the symbol clearly displays a wheelchair and signifies accessibility. The image on the right is an updated image which meets all of the legal requirements for signage but modernizes the depictions of the figure. As Ms. Longden said, Phoenix would be adopting an icon that is modern and inclusive, that recognizes that those in the disabled community are active, able, engaged, determined, and motivated. This is shown both through the body's positioning in the icon, with the head forward and the arm back to suggest dynamic mobility, as well as the wheel cutouts, which suggest motion, as opposed to the older image. This is a forward-looking proposal that is cost neutral for the city. What we are proposing is that as new markings and signage are required in city facilities, the new image would be used in lieu of the old one. Phoenix can lead the way by embracing this new symbol. The Mayor's Commission on Disability Issues has recommended the adoption of this new image, and Phoenix would be one of only a handful of cities nationwide that has adopted this image for its own use. EOD has partnered with other city departments, such as Public Works, to ensure the city's readiness to begin this transition at city facilities should the council approve the use of the image today. Phoenix can also lead the way by encouraging the use of the symbol with external partners. There are 3 organizations within the state who have adopted the use of the new icon, 2 of which are located within the city of Phoenix. Indeed, Cigna sought approval from the city of Phoenix for use of the new symbol, which helped bring the symbol to our attention. Should the council adopt this image, EOD and the city will lead the way through outreach to other governmental entities within the state and through outreach to private individuals seeking permits from the city of Phoenix through the Planning and Development Department. We hope to educate others about this new symbol as an option where an accessibility symbol is required by law. We hope to encourage its adoption and assist where and when necessary in any efforts by others to adopt this new symbol.
And so, Mayor, members of the council, the recommendation of staff is that the council adopt the new accessible icon for city use and engage in education and outreach to encourage use by others in the community.
Thank you very much. Outstanding presentation. Councilwoman Gallego.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your hard work on this and for putting Phoenix on the map in such a positive way. When I meet with District 8 advocates for accessibility, one of the things I hear most about is the transportation system, and we've tried to do a lot as a council to make the system more accessible, including hopefully expanding dial-a-ride and lowering the pay stations so that if you are in a wheelchair, you can use them. Will we also be reaching out to our transportation partners like Valley Metro and encouraging them to use this?
Mayor, Councilwoman Gallego, yes, absolutely. We're going to be working with MAG and the transportation agencies to make sure everyone's aware of the opportunity to use this icon.
Fabulous.
The motion?
We'd like to move approval of the recommendation and thank all involved.
We have a motion and a second. Any additional comments by members of this council?
Yeah,
Please,
just
Vice Mayor.
Congratulations to everyone who had something to do with this, and Jennifer Longden, Miss Longden, you are a hero, and I thank you for being such a strong advocate on so many issues here with the city of Phoenix, and you know, this is long overdue, and this is absolutely appropriate, and you know, I'm absolutely supportive. So congratulations, thank you, and.
Mr. Vice Mayor, you can have cookies.
I have my. This one has no calories, right? This is Fit Phoenix.
Absolutely none.
All right, cool.
All right, thank you very much. Any other comments? Councilwoman Williams, please.
I want to thank everyone who was involved in that event, and especially Cigna. We must have had at least 200 Cigna employees out there with us. I will tell you, there was one gentleman over here that still has paint because part of the challenge was painting the symbol in their parking lot. Jennifer, she knows how to paint. I'm a little concerned on how well she uses a spray can, but again, it was well worth the effort, and thank you very much for taking the lead on this.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. Any other comments by members of this council? Just want to add to Jennifer and the team, thank you so much for your leadership on this and so many other issues. Thank you for keep pushing us in the right direction. It's very, very much appreciated. I do want to ask the city attorney. We did accept the cookies before the vote. Are we okay still to proceed with the vote?
I think you're okay.
Okay, thank goodness. All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the item passes unanimously. Thank you for your leadership very, very much.
Thank you so much.
Next item on the agenda is item number 3, which is the recommendations from the Water Safety Ad Hoc Committee. Ms. Janovich, I think, is going to lead this, and these recommendations are timely in light of we had another tragic weekend with a young person who drowned over the weekend over in northwest Phoenix. A very, very sad situation, and so the work that you do is very, very important, and it's important that we take the opportunity to remind people how important this work is. So, Ms. Janovich, I think you're leading the presentation.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and members of the council. I'm Deanna Janovich, Deputy City Manager. Pleased to be here today to provide for your consideration the recommendations of the Water Safety Ad Hoc Committee. Joining me today at the table is Shelley Jamison with the Phoenix Fire Department, Becky Hewitt with our Parks and Recreation Department, and then 2 great partners that have worked through with us in this effort, Sonia Smith with Banner University Medical Center, as well as Tiffany Isaacson from Phoenix Children's Hospital. Also, before I turn it over to Shelley to discuss the recommendations, directly behind me in the first row are also members that have been very instrumental, not only with our Phoenix Fire Department, but we have a wonderful partnership to the right of me with Juana Hernandez from SRP. If you can. As well as Aaron Carora with the Phoenix Children's Hospital. And again, City Department was instrumental as well in these efforts. So I'd like to turn it over to Shelley.
Good afternoon, Mayor and members of the council. Thank you for your time this afternoon. As the mayor mentioned, we lost a 4-year-old boy this weekend to drowning. He fell in a backyard pool. His family had just moved to the valley 2 weeks prior. It's quite certain that they didn't understand the dangers of an unfenced pool in their backyard. As you know, drowning is a serious problem in Phoenix, in part because of the large number of swimming pools in the valley, and home pools are among the largest hazard for young children. Other sites, though, include bathtubs, canals, rivers, ponds, and lakes. Last year, 39 children under the age of 18 were involved in water-related incidents. 5 of them did not survive. On average, there are about 72 drowning incidents every year over the past 5 years. Although the most common ones involve toddlers in backyards, where there's no fence or supervision, and that is a theme, the majority of fatalities involve adults. Mayor Stanton created the Water Safety Ad Hoc Committee in July of 2014. It's co-chaired by our Vice Mayor, Daniel Valenzuela, and Councilman Michael Nowakowski. And the purpose of the Ad Hoc Committee is to address drowning incidents, which are occurring at what we consider alarming rates in the city of Phoenix. The Ad Hoc Committee includes a number of representatives, many of which are sitting with us today. We consider them our partners. These are some of the members and our stakeholders. Many of those were with us this morning in response to the weekend's drowning involving the 4-year-old. We conducted what is known as a wave walk, and this is a reactive event that answers to drownings when they occur. WAVE stands for Water Awareness, Vigilance, and Education. We canvassed the neighborhood around where the young boy drowned, and we passed out water safety literature and education. Unfortunately, this is typically our response to water safety education, and that is reactive. What we're looking to do with our Water Safety Ad Hoc Committee is become more proactive, and that's the plan today. And with our partners, we believe we're going to do so. First, we formed a mission statement, and that is to reduce water incidents and drowning in Phoenix by building water safety messages, education, and awareness for all. I would like to emphasize at this point that what we've put together does not replace what is already in place, and we're very familiar with some of the messages: watch your children around water, just a few seconds. All of the water education that we do now, water safety education, will remain in place. This is meant to supplement it. Just to give you a sketch of what water accidents look like here in Arizona, we see that the highest drowning rates are in Maricopa and Pima counties. That's not surprising because of the size of the counties. Unfortunately, we share the distinction of being among one of the 5 highest-ranked states for drownings, along with Florida, Texas, Nevada, and California. This might surprise you. For teens, the rate of drowning is 30% higher in Arizona than it is in other states. We often rely on numbers such as these to tell a story. However, I feel like it sometimes neglects the human element. Although we're looking at numbers, you need to remember that each of these touched a family. Often when we hear the term near drowning, which we haven't addressed here, and we see that often, the term near drowning is a misnomer because it indicates there was some type of save or that things turned out well, and that isn't necessarily the case. In most near drownings, what we have is a victim who has no quality of life. They breathe through a tube are fed by a tube, they breathe through a ventilator, and they don't have the quality of life that you would expect when you hear near drowning. In the city of Phoenix, again, we see numbers, and we focus on these numbers, but I want you to remember what they mean are people. And so what we're seeing are individuals. 352 water-related incidents in the years between 2010 and 2014. And as I mentioned before, what you see is about 72 incidents on average per year. 96 of those were fatal. About a third of them involve children and teens, and most of them involve adults. We typically hear about the young children. Those are the stories that make the headlines. Although we'll read about adults, it doesn't have the same meaning. Part of the reason is because children can't protect themselves. They rely on adults to protect them. However, there are ways also to stop and negate adult drownings. About 26 of these incidents resulted in the lifelong disability, and that's what I mentioned when we talked about near drownings. About 77% of those were children and teens. 23% of those near drownings were adults. Our Water Safety Ad Hoc Committee is quite comprehensive, and because you saw the number of collaborators that we've reached out to and who have worked together, what we've come up with is something quite new. And so the first thing we did was name 3 items we wanted to address. The first item is the outreach and awareness portion. We put together a working group to address that specifically, and they put together a strategic marketing plan that will provide information regarding the water safety campaign to the community so we can begin to market this new concept. The Education and Curriculum Development Work Group put together a comprehensive water safety program, and it, again, uses a number of resources. We gain strength through these numbers and through these resources. The curriculum was improved and put together based on feedback and recommendations from a focus group, so we didn't just sit down and come up with something clever. We reached out to determine what was lacking and how we might supplement that. Finally, our community partnerships have worked together, and we've created a number, and we continue to work together. At our Wave Walk this morning, we saw these partners as well. And what they did is put together the curriculum that we will bring to the community. And so today, we introduce to you what we came up with, and we call it our Save Our Summer initiative. This is a quite new way of doing business when it comes to water safety education. So to be more specific, there's nothing really very complicated about water safety education. It are some very simple concepts. However, as I mentioned, we have relied until now up onto the media and also on reactive messaging. As you know, you're bombarded with hundreds of messages each day, whether it's text, email, media, otherwise. And so this is person to person, an army of foot soldiers reaching out to the community to educate them about some basic water safety concepts. And it's quite simple.
Mayor and Council, thank you for having me here today. Becky Hewlett with the City of Phoenix Aquatics. I'd like to talk about the curriculum component that we put together. As Shelley had mentioned, we did vet the curriculum through a focus group. We had Chicanos por la Casa, we had ASU, some faith-based groups, and some refugee groups come and review the curriculum. We went through the curriculum with them. They gave us feedback. We were able to take that back, manipulate the curriculum a little bit more, and that's what we have today to share with you. In our curriculum, we are going to address really what drowning looks like. We get a very small opportunity to see what drowning looks like in the media, in the movies. they tend to Hollywood up the drownings, and it's not really what it looks like. So through this curriculum, we're going to talk about what drowning looks like for the little kids, for the older adults, give the education back to the people so they know what to look for. A lot of times we don't realize that kids are in trouble in the water when they're bobbing. We all learn to bob when we take swimming lessons, but sometimes that is a distressed swimmer. They can't touch, water's over their head, therefore they're in trouble. We need to address that. We are going to address the children, the teens, and the adults, and the risky behaviors in all of those components with our teens and our adults. They're the ones that are getting into trouble between medications and the behaviors that they choose to do in our lakes and rivers and other places. So therefore, we want to address that in this curriculum. We'll also address the barriers and the life jackets and the swimming lessons and the education component that is, of course, been the messaging throughout the rest of our water safety education messages. That is all incorporated into our curriculum that we're going to share. The way we're planning to roll this out is a train the trainer curriculum. The top work group is the group of experts that put this curriculum together. Their role in rolling this out is to guide two coordinators, one person from Parks, one person for Fire, for this pilot year to go ahead and find 16 trainers in our community. We're going to reach out to our parks. In our park centers, we have community centers, and we will find advocates within that community center to make sure that this is a citywide effort. We will also reach out to entities such as Chicanos por la Casas, the YMCAs, the different agencies that already have groups in place that could utilize this curriculum and what they're already doing. Those 16 trainers are going to then educate our community. They are going to reach out, and they have the potential to reach thousands of individuals through this curriculum. However, we are going to look at 150 of those community members, which we will sample and we will evaluate. We'll look at their behaviors and their attitudinal changes towards water safety, make sure that we have the curriculum right on before we move forward after this pilot program, make the adjustments that we need to make.
Again, I mentioned the importance of our partnerships, and they come to us today at the table. Becky Hewlett with Aquatics, behind me, of course, Banner University Medical Center, Phoenix Children's Hospital, SRP. We couldn't do this without them. It gives us strength in numbers. And so thanks to them, and also Local 493, they'll help us with the inception of this program. It's not very expensive. Again, this is very much a hands-on, people-oriented program. We do need some materials. Local 493 has offered to donate the cost of 3-ring binders, flash drives, and the tools that it will take to train the trainers and teach the community, a minor cost. SRP has volunteered to donate funding for our resource books. Those will be given to not just the trainers to share, but the community as well, and it has a number of items of information in them, everything from how to or where to get CPR lessons to swim lessons, anything they might need to keep their family safer. And so very effective in terms of use of our partners to keep costs down to almost nothing. Our recommendation today from the Water Safety Ad Hoc Committee is that you kindly implement the SOS initiative and approve it. This would be a citywide effort, and it would be represented in all districts. We're going to have a 12-month pilot program, and as Becky mentioned, we will at some point sample 150 of those who have taken the training to find out how it might be made better, improved upon, or if it's good as it is. And so that's what we're asking for today, the curriculum and the train the trainer.
And Mayor and members of the council, if I may, I would like to turn it back over to the Vice Mayor to provide some comments on the work of the committee, since he co-chaired that with Councilman Nowakowski. Vice Mayor.
Yeah, thank you both, Deanna, Mayor Stanton, and thank you to the committee. You know, as a firefighter, I will tell you that there's one call that we go on that is absolutely preventable. It's 100% preventable, and that is the call of a child drowning. You just mentioned it a few days ago. There's a 4-year-old little boy that was lost, and that incident that took place that's taken place in every one of our districts, but most recently District 1, that incident just brought and still has a community to its knees. It impacts that child first and foremost, that child's family, that child's neighbors, siblings, classmates, first responders, hospital personnel, and it just goes on and on and on. And that call is absolutely preventable, and it's the worst call you can go on as a first responder. But of course, we realize that it's nothing compared to what is going on with that family. I'm glad that you mentioned, the fact that when people hear that there has been a near drowning, it is to assume that a child was not lost and everything is okay. For every child that we lose due to drowning, we lose so many others due to near drowning. I mean, there are kids who will never see again, walk, breathe on their own in many cases, never feed themselves, and it's something that that has to stop. Arizona typically is in the top 2 when it comes, as far as a state, when it comes to child drownings, and we have to, we wonder why that is. We don't have many large bodies of water. We don't have oceans. We do lead the nation when it comes to swimming pools. And for those of us who don't have a swimming pool, we have a bathtub, we have a sink. Sometimes we're leaving buckets of water out a little too long. And kids especially, kids are curious and they find their way to that type of a situation. And so when I first became a firefighter, I knew that my passion, like everyone up here, is to serve. And like for everyone at the table here, it's to serve. But in the fire service, I realized that we are a reactive industry. When you hear lights and sirens, it's already happening. How do we prevent it from happening in the first place? And I commend Phoenix Fire and partners for being so proactive and trying to prevent it from happening in the first place. I've committed my public safety life, though I will always get on a fire truck, but I've committed my public safety career to being proactive, working with people like Tiffany Isaacson for years on these types of programs. And I've never seen something as comprehensive as this. This is, I feel good in saying that this is new. This is something that has never been done. To this extent, it's never been done. So congratulations. We're thinking of our children. We're also thinking of our children's parents. Most people don't realize that most of those that we lose due to drowning are adults. And adults who don't know how to swim, well, I mean, they're not going to teach our kids to swim. And so that's part of this program as well. Mayor Stanton, I want to thank you for bringing this to light and putting together this all-star team to really move this ad hoc forward. And I want to thank my colleague, and I don't know if Michael is on the line, but I want to thank Councilman Nowakowski, who chairs the Public Safety Subcommittee, and I think we all realize just how committed he is to this effort as well, and has always been. But I mean, this is, it's a great product. I think we're moving in the right direction. I will say now, for the record, that what I would like to see is, Mr. City Manager, what I'd like to see us move to is an actual position in the future to manage this program moving forward. This is a pilot. I feel good about it. Let's see where we are with it. But certainly something that we should be thinking about as policymakers moving forward. Once we get more data from the pilot. So, again, thank you on behalf of all of those children and those families, and of course, like I said, just the entire community. Thanks for all of the effort. Thanks for all of throughout the years, to everyone who's at the table. Thank you for all of the effort that you've already put forth. And I've spoken with everyone at the table when we've had our meetings over at City Hall, and I know that you also believe, you can just see the energy, that you also believe that this is something new, this is something different. It's never been this robust, this comprehensive, this detailed, and I feel good about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. So we have motion.
Motion to approve staff recommendation, the ad hoc committee's recommendations.
All right, so the motion is to approve staff's recommendation to implement the SOS initiative. Do we have a second on that? We have a second. Any additional comments by members of this council? Councilman Gates.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank the Vice Mayor and Councilman Nowakowski for their leadership on this extremely important issue for all of us and for the entire community and everyone who's involved here, both the folks with the City of Phoenix and our partners. Thank you so much. You know, as someone with kids that aren't as small now, but any of us, you know, especially that have kids, small kids living here in Phoenix, can't imagine an issue, frankly, more important. So thank you for what you've done. And if you haven't had discussions with them or reached out to them already, I would encourage you and be happy to help facilitate a discussion with our friends at Hubbard Family Swim School in District 3. Long North 32nd, had to put in a plug there. But I'm sure they would love to participate in this if you haven't already had discussions with them. So thank you so much, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Additional comments? Councilwoman Williams, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I too want to thank all of you that have been involved in this, and the Vice Mayor and Councilman Nowakowski for taking leadership on this, and the Mayor's recognizing that this is such an important issue. As you said, we always focus on the kids. That's the one that tears our heart out. But what I think is interesting is the fact is how many adults are victims of drowning. And I encourage you to work with our community centers and our senior centers because I think they're very vulnerable. As I have grown a little older, I noticed I still think I can do everything I did when I was 40. And unfortunately, my kids keep pointing out I don't do it as well. And I know that many of the seniors at the centers take a lot of risks and don't realize the possibilities that are there. So I think it's extremely important that we work with them, as well as some of the, getting some of the other, what is it, senior aging, as well as maybe
Area
ARP.
Agency on Aging and AARP.
Right, and get them trained so that they could also hold classes. I think that would be extremely important. But again, thank you all for being involved.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Other members of this council? All right, thank you very much. I do want to also just say thank you to Councilman Vice Mayor Valenzuela, Councilman Nowakowski for taking time, as well as all the other leaders who served on the task force. The reality is that last summer was a really bad summer. And not only lose too many young people, adults, teenagers as well. It was a tough, tough summer. And so this is the least we can do. And if there's more we can do to support our anti-drowning efforts through our various city departments of the community, please let us know. You're going to have a very, very supportive city council. This is serious business, and we do not want another summer like there was last summer. So we have a motion. We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That item passes unanimously. Thank you for all you do on drowning prevention. It means the world to us. Thank you so much. I know a few members of the council have to leave early, so made a decision to not hear item number 4 this week. It'll be heard on the May 5th policy agenda. So the next item will be item number 5, street landscaping program changes. Mr. Neymark, is this your item?
Yes, indeed.
Good to see you.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of the council. As you know, street landscaping is an important part of the look and feel of our city, providing shade and beauty. As you also know, in recent years, due to budget restraints, we've had a hard time keeping up with our street landscape maintenance amid major budget cuts. During our core or comprehensive organizational review evaluation, led by Assistant City Manager Milton Dohoney, street landscaping was identified by both the Street Transportation Department and the Parks and Recreation Department as an area for potential consolidation and further efficiency. The Parks Department has limited staff that has responsibility for the majority of our street landscaping maintenance across the city. And the Street Transportation Department, through contracts, maintains a whole lot of landscaping near our freeway corridors and also some of our newer major streets. So we have two ways of doing this work. And we believe that if we combine these two efforts into one in the Street Transportation Department and expand the contract that they have to do all of the work, we can do so at a higher level and with the same amount of money provide a better service. So with me today is Jim Burke, Parks and Recreation Director, and Ray Dovalina, Street Transportation Director, to provide you with a little more detail on our recommendation to both consolidate and further outsource our street landscape maintenance.
Thank you, Rick. Mayor and members of the council, imagine a day in your office. Each of your council offices, your assistants, the city manager's office, the Street Transportation Department office, and every Parks and Recreation office almost daily gets a call about street landscaping. The calls are typically complaints about weeds in the right-of-way, trash, blocked views of signs or signals, or overgrown landscaping or runaway water. As Rick mentioned, last summer we completed the core review, comprehensive organizational review, and we identified this as a possible efficiency. When you think about the missions of the department, the primary mission for Parks and Recreation is taking care of park property, recreation facilities, pools, and community centers. There's 750 miles of major streets in the city of Phoenix. That's the same distance as driving from the city of Phoenix to the city of San Francisco. And if you think about making that drive and noticing the landscaping along the way, on both sides of the street and the median island, with just 21 people assigned to maintain that, think about how often you'll see them and how much they'll be able to do in that landscaping. That's a humongous task, a very large task. Over the years, because of budget reductions, we have basically resulted in devolving our service level to managing emergencies and complaint basis only. The goal of transitioning the street landscaping to the streets department is to reduce constituent complaints, improve the beauty of the city, and reduce the risk of lawsuits. In addition, park staff members currently assigned to street landscaping can be reassigned to the parks, and improving then the service level in our parks facilities. And these improvements, we believe, can be done at no additional cost to the city and no loss of current filled positions. I would like to thank Jennifer Wozniak and her staff and constituents at LIUNA 777. The union group has been very involved with this, been a partner in this analysis, and have participated in review and evaluation of this proposal. So our proposal is to take 21 currently filled and budgeted positions in the Parks Department that are doing street landscape maintenance and move them into 21 budgeted vacant positions in the Parks Department. And then we'll take those 21 vacancies that are now in the street landscaping area, turn that into cash, and assign it over to the Street Transportation Department, excuse me. They will then bid this out, create a contract, and a few new FTEs so they can manage and inspect the work with those contracts. With that, I'll ask Ray.
Thanks, Jim, Mayor and City Council. Basically, these 4 additional staff members would complement the current staff member that we have. It's a street landscape inspector, currently in Street Transportation Department. If successfully bid, we would look at more of a scheduled maintenance across the arterial street network that we have. Based on our contract experience with freeway and light rail landscaping maintenance, we foresee that we can schedule this landscape maintenance 3 times a year, and so we see that as a benefit based on using the same value of the investment that we would carry for this program. Also, another benefit that we see across the city is instead of having 2 departments, we would have 1 department addressing this. So that's a major benefit in looking at this approach. It means that design, construction, and maintenance would be in 1 organization, not 2 different organizations. For example, right now, if we have a street transportation inspector that sees a block sign across a city street, we have to then call the Parks and Recreation Department to get them to basically cut down and get that sign opened. So whereas a street landscape maintenance worker would be looking at this through that contract, it would be within one department, and then it wouldn't have to have two departments be involved in this work effort. So obviously, street landscaping across the city streets are our main, big, highest viewed assets across the city. Everyone sees it driving, commuting, and also just visitors visiting Phoenix. They see this as a big asset for Phoenix. So with street landscaping being maintained on a scheduled basis, and with one department, we can see the beautification of the city across all the streets that we have, and make that a benefit for our economic values that we're looking at. Also during this process, we did look at possibility of creating a higher level of maintenance based on going beyond the 3 times per year, but that meant a higher funding aspect for that, and so we did not, based on the budget, we did not see that as a step to move forward. So this proposal, based on what Rick and Jim stated, went through the core review process completed last summer. Also, we went through a stakeholder task force, and also two council subcommittees, one being the Transportation Infrastructure Subcommittee that was recommended this item for City Council approval. So this presentation formally requests the City Council to approve the consolidation of street landscaping design and maintenance activities into the Street Transportation Department and begin the process to pursue outsourcing measures. Staff will report back to City Council on the bid results. With that, I'll pass it back.
Mr. Newmark, Councilor Williams, do you have a motion on this one?
I do. I want to move approval, but I really want to thank Mr. Mahoney and total blank, Jim Burke and Ray for their hard work and their willingness to cooperate to find a solution here, because this is something that we hear on a daily basis, just as you said in the beginning. So I move the recommendation for approval.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any additional comments by members of this council? Councilor DeCiccio, please.
Just some clarification on this. So when we're talking about the 4 FTEs, are we talking about city staff that we're hiring, or is it going to be a contracted out position, or what is it you're looking at doing?
Mayor and Councilman DeCiccio, it's going to be value of a contract, so we would have a contractor as well as 4 new full-time employees, a variety of potentially a horticulturist, a contract specialist, and then 2 additional landscaping inspectors, in addition to that 1 landscape inspector that we have in the department.
And their position would be basically to oversee the contracts that we have with the private sector, is that correct? I just want to make sure I know.
So we're cutting 21 positions, but we're adding 4 to manage the contracts.
Manage the contracts. Okay, well, I think this is a great move, and I like the consolidation a lot, because it just makes a lot of sense to go in one. I think it's also very important. I don't think, sometimes we don't see it, but the public does see this, because that's what they see every day when they drive by, and they do see the vision. I mean, this is how they visualize their city. Whether you have a broken street, with a pothole, or a landscaping that looks like it's out of control, that gives the visual of what the people see, especially people that are looking to relocate to our community. They want to be able to say, hey, wow, this looks pretty good. It's an impression that they have. So I think this is a great step for the city. I think it also fits in line with some of the things that the city manager and Rick and others here are looking at, and Ray and Jim and all of you. It's really looking at what is and what isn't strategic. And it's a decision you have to make. Is this a strategic function or not? If it's not a strategic function, then you have to ask the question, is this something we should be doing, or is this something that someone else could be doing? So I think you're headed definitely in the right direction on this. I mean, I think you're going to save money on it. I get the 4 individuals. You got to monitor the contracts is what you have to do. And I'm going to be very supportive of it. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Any additional comments? Councilwoman Gallego?
Thank you. I am glad that we'll still have a horticulturalist involved, and I hope that as we look for the firms, we'll look for people with some expertise. We have an ambitious urban forestry goal in our city, and to maintain our trees, we will need someone with some scientific background. It can't just be trying to go for the cheapest. We really when we have a lot of streets like Southern in District 8 where we have so many dead trees. And so we're going to need someone who can be a partner, or multiple firms who can be a partner with us if we are going to have the kind of green shaded city that this council has said we approve of. So I think it's good to have educated people as partners and really look for the best firms, not the cheapest firms. I am very glad to see that we're moving away from a complaint-based system. When I was meeting with the assistant city manager about my priorities, I really said one of the things I want to see us do as much as possible is move away from complaint-based systems. It tends to be a transfer of resources away from our poorest areas, our areas where people don't speak English as their first language. They are less likely to call up and complain. And I think we as a council value all of our citizens and want to equally distribute resources. So I hope that we can challenge the city manager to look for ways to get to that level of service that we'd like to see and move beyond 3 times per year, which if we have a summer with storms like last year is not going to be anywhere near sufficient and not create that first impression people want to see when they come to our city.
Thank you very much. Any other comments?
I have comments.
Councilwoman Pastor, please.
So my understanding, if I'm reading this correctly, at one point we had 42 FTEs to manage this whole piece in this map. And at one point, then 21 FTEs are now vacant. And so then it left 21 FTEs to manage these areas across the whole city. And I think it's good that we went through this process, and these 21 FTEs are now moving into the vacant FTEs, and then their position then is being phased out for those dollars. How much is that? How much is the 21 FTEs, the cost?
Mayor, members of the council, I believe it's $1.3 million. 1.23, excuse me.
I'm sorry?
1.23 million.
And out of that, we will then look at a contract. A contract for how much? What is our max that we're looking at?
We haven't bid it out yet, but our estimate is around $880,000.
800 or 80?
880, excuse me.
And then it'll leave some funding to hire 4 FTEs at what cost?
Mayor and Councilwoman Pastor, we looked at about roughly $350,000
For all,
for the 4 FTEs.
okay. Where I'm going with this is, and this money's coming out of the Parks Department?
Yes, that's
Yes?
what's correct. Yes.
Okay. Well, where I'm going with this is that we need park rangers, and I want to look, if there's money in here, we need to make sure, since it's coming out of the Parks Department, that we have sufficient park rangers, and we look at this. I'm supportive of this whole process, but this money is, I'm hearing from the committee that park rangers are a core to our parks and our trails, and so we do not have enough, and I am looking at this in a way that we can possibly fund some of our park rangers. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Council, nope, okay, any other comments from members of the council? We have a motion in favor of our staff recommendation. We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. There be no further business for the city council. Today's meeting is adjourned.
Can I still give you the call, sir? Yeah.